values with default value with it, so which is also good. Now that we have that, if you click on it, you see the user profile. So let us work on this user profile where we also want the user to be able to see the address, we want them to be able to see their balance, and also want them to be able to see the total shipment that they have, that they are involved in, either as a buyer, as a receiver, or as a logistics provider. Alright, so what we are going to be doing going forward will just be literally almost the same. It's what we did in this navigation bar component. Don't forget, we want to try and work on this to get the address of the user, total shipment, and also their balance. So let's go right into it. Then we go to the profile modal. Don't forget that is what we are doing. That's what we are doing here from, because navigation bar you can see we are setting the profile modal to true. Once we set to true, it will bring up this particular value, and that is what we have here. So now the same thing that we did here, just copy this, just for you to see the pattern. Just copy this. Now copy this. Then with that, we also need some functionalities from React. When we start the application, I want to call some function, and also I also want to be able to update some values. So I'll go to use the use effects and use state from React. So from there, I have all this already. Then I'll just go right into it. I'm going to be needing some values. We're needing some values from the context like we did in the previous navigation bar implementation that we worked on. So I am going to be getting the accounts, and then now that I have the accounts, so I can just display the accounts for the user to see. This is me, I'm displaying the accounts. So I can display the account fully here since there's enough space. It's not a button. So I can display the account fully here. Just save. PX. So once I save, I come to check. You can see that we have our accounts. It's the same thing as this. 5615. 5615, 9B8F, 9B8F. So we have the address. Now let us try to get the balance. Now if you look at the current implementation that we have, there's no way we are getting the balance. Also, there's no way we are getting the shipment. So we need to work on that new implementation. So first thing first, let's try to set this end. Alright. First thing first, let's try to get the user balance. Just db an asynchronous function. You know what that means now. So we want to check if there's a provider, the MetaMask now, and also if there's an account. Because what do you want to get balance of? Is there no MetaMask? And if there's no account link, so you need to check if you have a provider and if you have the account. So you get the account balance by saying the balance, which will be a big integer, await provider, get the balance of the accounts, get the balance of the accounts. Oh, I see, you can see there's an error here. There's a problem. I'm supposed to declare this as a function. Now that we have the big integer, we use the iter to convert it to the value that the user can easily understand. So the ethers give us a function that we can use to format ethers from the big integer to a normal its value. So we just return that balance for the user to see. Otherwise, if we don't have all that, we can as well just return 0. Just return 0 because there's no value for it. So now that you have that, you can now pass it to your provider. Very simple, right? Pass it to a provider. Then we are ready to call it. Right here. Get balance. So now for us to get the user balance, let's just set some use states. So we know how this use states work now. Balance, set balance, use states. Initially it should be 0. Also, since we are going to be needing the shipment count, let's just define it now. Set, but let me just use this to avoid mistakes. Once you highlight it, you just do Ctrl D. Shipments, number of shipment that you have at the moment. So I'll just change this capital letter. Never forget that. Initially 2, it should be 0. So now that you have that, so once the application load, you just want to set the, by default, you want to call, let's define the function outside where we fetch the user data. Fetch the data. It should be an asynchronous function. If account the user balance with get balance, which is coming from here. So the get balance, we want to call the function from here. So once we get the balance, let's just set the balance here. Set balance. You just set it to whatever balance that we get from this function. For this function. So that settles it. And what we just need to do is just to call this function right here. Call the function right here. And like I said, you should put an array here, otherwise your system will keep looping infinitely. And the condition for calling the fetch data again is if the account change. Let's say we switch from being a seller to being a logistic provider, then we want to fetch the data again because at that time the data will change. So every time this account, the value of accounts change, we want to call in this fetch function. And that is what that means. Now that we have been able to do that, let's just come and update our user interface. So putting this 0.1 it, we just set the value. So by default, let us cast it to be what number. The balance should be number, and we want to set it to 2 decimal place by saying dot to fix. So we just want, because sometimes it can have a long decimal, like the number after decimal can be as much as 10, 15, like that. So we just want it to be 2. Since it's just 2, then we should be good to go. Now let's save it. Let's see if that is giving us what we want. Just come right here, click on it, and I can see you have 100 hits. Before it was 0.1, but now you have 100 hits. So now the next thing for us to do now is to get the total shipment that this user is as the user is involved in, either as a buyer, a seller, or logistics provider. So the same process, we come back because we don't have, if you come back to your context, you don't have any function that you are using to get. Let me just close this. Let me close this. I think I can close this too. So you don't have any function that you're using to get the number of shipments. So what you just need to do is for you to define a function to do that. So let's jump right into it. Get user shipments counts. Get user shipment counts to be an asynchronous function. If we have a contract, like there's a smart contract, and also there's an account, either the buyer, the seller, whatever. Then we want to cast constant the total to be number. Let's cast it to be number with contracts. So the total delivery that we have made, this just get, don't forget from your smart contract. Let me see if I can open the smart contracts, because now we are interacting with the contract, smart contract now. So, and I've declared some values as public, so I should be able to get those public values now. Now I need the total counter, so I get this shipment counter so that you can know that we are able to interact with our smart contract. So this is what I'm getting. So I'm getting here, right here. So just say, let's say the count is initially 0. I want to have a loop now. I want to loop starting from the first index, which is index 0. And then I want to have my iterator to be less than total. So that means I want to have it to be less than total. And now we increase it after the iteration by 1. So what I'm doing is getting the shipment to be equals to a weight contract dots. Now I want to interact with my contract again. Contract of shipments. I want to get the current index. So if it's index 0, I want to get the shipment with index 0. If it's index 1, I want to get the index with the shipment with index 1. So I'll check if the currently logged in user has anything to do with that delivery. So I'll just say shipment dot the seller. Just do the lowercase for comparison's sake. That means I'm putting it to small letter. If it is equals to the account, dot to lowercase small letter. So either is a seller or in JavaScript is like this, or if it's a logistics provider. So if it's a logistics, don't forget all this are also coming from this. So this is the seller, now the logistics provider. Please pay attention to the spelling. It's single mistake and mess things up. So either the seller is the same as the account address, or the logistics provider is the same as the account address, or receiver. So don't forget, we're still interacting here, the receiver. And so if any of this is true, then we can't want to get that particular delivery or shipment. So we want to count it, increment it by 1. So we should remove this. So with that, once we have been able to run the loop, we get the counter of the delivery or shipment that the user is involved in. Otherwise, if there's no contract and there's no account, it's as good as just returning 0. So now, like we did for the balance, we make this available get the shipment counts. So we just jump right into it, the profile model. So we need to, just like we did for the user balance, we need to get the user shipments counts, which is equals to our weight. We call that function. See the beauty of it, but it's not available yet. So get it, make it available here. So once we have been able to do that, we also set the shipment count. So user shipment count. So once we have been able to do that, now we'll come right into it to update our user interface. So that instead of saying total shipment is 10 by default, we want to set the value to shipment count. So if you are able to do that, then if you click on it and see total shipment is currently